Apparently, if you take Tim Cook and you put a black background and you include some Apple leaks of some upcoming Apple products, it's highly likely to get recommended more on YouTube for some reason. Anywho, no, this is not clickbait. We're seriously talking about all the things that we know so far on what to expect on the next generation of iPhone. So if you two are excited about the iPhone 12 and the 12 Pro, as well as some other upcoming Apple products for this year, here's everything that I was able to gather upon hours of research. Let's get started. So let's be real. This year wasn't really the best year ever. In case you're unaware, yes, it has been confirmed already that the iPhone 12, that the next generation iPhones are gonna be delayed. This report was first made by leakers, but was now recently confirmed by Apple during their earnings calls that the iPhones will be experiencing some type of delay. But then just recently, a very trusted source, John Prosser, gave us inside information from his inside source, giving us an exact date when is expected for us to see the next generation batch of iPhone 12s and the 12 Pro, as well as other upcoming Apple products like the new rumored iPad mini and the Series 6 Apple Watch. It is possible during the first week, sometime during September 7th, that's literally a month away, it's when we're gonna go ahead and see a press release of these upcoming Apple products. And yes, you heard me right, they're gonna do a press release for the new iPad and the new Series 6 Apple Watch. Now this could be a huge letdown to some, because when Apple does a press release, they randomly just release the product during the first week without holding a special keynote event for that device. Very similar to what we saw earlier this year. Now it's totally understandable why Apple is doing this, as it's really risky to have large gathering like this now, and doing a live event without having an audience wouldn't just be right. So it's very likely, very similar to what we saw in WWDC, Apple may just do a pre-release edited video unveil for these generation iPhones. And then back to John Prosser. As for the iPhone 12 and Pro releases, he stated that pre-orders will begin on October 12th and the shipping date of those iPhones will be a couple of days later. So if this is correct, yeah, the iPhone does look like it's gonna get delayed slightly compared to what we have been seeing last year or the past few years now. Normally when Apple releases a new phone, it gets released either late September or early October. As for the iPhone 12 Pro, there isn't an exact date yet from his inside sources, but he mentioned it'll be sometime during November when we finally get the new iPhone 12 Pros. Now, when it comes to important specs of these new devices, what we know so far is this: the iPhone 12 and the 12 Pro will have this new semi-retro design, very similar to the iPhone 4, as earlier these past few months, case manufacturers were starting to receive their dummy phones to fit a case that goes around it. Interesting thing about the starting iPhone 12 is that it's finally going to have an OLED display and will come available in 2 different size options. It is rumored that it will come with a 5.4-inch display, as well as a 6.1-inch display option will be available. The chassis will be made out of the very similar material as we currently have with the iPhone 12, so aluminum and glass. There is a potential chance we may see new color choices to choose from. It's going to have an improved Face ID sensor, 4 gigs of RAM memory, a dual camera setup, sub 5G support will be available for the iPhone 12, and of course it's going to continue to maintain the Lightning port. The price tag, of course, should be very similar to what we currently see with the iPhone 11, and clearly we're going to go ahead and see a new USB-C to Lightning cable that's going to be braided this time. That's just a rumor, but there's a small chance that could possibly happen. Apple may finally ditch the plastic cable that we normally had in the past that would only last maybe a year if you're lucky. So I hope a braided cable finally gets released for these already very expensive devices. Then besides that, when it comes to the iPhone 12 Pro, the quick overview specs is basically this. Of course, the retail price should retain the same price as the current iPhone 11 Pros are listed. A OLED 6.1-inch display and a 6.4-inch display will be available. It's going to retain the same material that we currently see on the iPhone Pros lineup, so it's going to be made out of stainless steel and glass with that new flat body design. A navy blue color option is rumored to be a release for these next generation iPhone 12 Pros, but surprisingly there hasn't been any images leaked yet during the production line. Very similar to what we saw last year with the iPhone 11s. And of course, just like the regular iPhone 12s, we're gonna go ahead and also see this new improved Face ID hardware. It's gonna have the new A14 Bionic chipset with 6 GB of RAM, a similar configuration like the current iPhone 11 Pros. And of course, we may see some camera improvements in its triple camera lens setup, as well as the new LiDAR sensor hardware that's found on the current 2020 iPad Pros. Oh, and yes, 5G is coming to the iPhone 12 Pros, which should support both sub and millimeter wave for that super fast cellular connection speed. Besides that, none of these new iPhones look like they're gonna go actually support the 120 Hz display that many users have been wanting. For me personally, I really don't care. I'm sure I'm not the only one. So I really wouldn't have that much use for a 120 Hz display, but I do understand it's cool to have if you have it, but I'm sure many users will survive just fine without it. It's like having a car that's capable to achieve 200 miles per hour when you know that you will never really use it. It's cool to have, but the likelihood of me ever using it, it's very unlikely. Now I'm just getting sidetracked. So before I mumble upon nonsense, feel free to watch this video over here as I go through all the current updates that we know about the Series 6 Apple Watch, which is soon to be released as well. I go over all the new features as well as that new navy color possibly coming to the Apple Watch. And then this video over here, that's just a video that YouTube is recommending specifically for you. Feel free to watch either or. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you all in the next one. See ya.